All right, well, let's get started. Hello and good morning. I'm Thomas Day with Guidehouse Consulting, and this is an informational webinar for prospective applicants of the Cook County Honor Grant. Before we go any further, I'd like to make clear that this presentation is being recorded, and shortly after we're done, this presentation will be uploaded onto YouTube. For those of you new to Teams, here are a few tips for how to raise questions and comments and concerns. Please type out some questions, concerns that you might have in the chat bubble there on top of your screen, or raise your hand. We will have about 15 to 20 minutes, we expect, after this presentation for questions and comments. And also, if you require it, closed captioning is supported by Teams using those instructions on that final bullet point you see on your screen. Guidehouse has been supporting Cook County in managing money sent to the county through the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. A portion of those funds have been sent to the Cook County Bureau of Administration under the leadership of Bureau Chief Tanya Anthony and her deputy Raquel Williams. And a few of those dollars are being managed by the Cook County Department of Veterans Affairs under the leadership of Director Retired Major D. Love. We are privileged to be supporting the Cook County Bureau of Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs, myself with my colleague Janelle Paez-Hill. We count ourselves among members of this Cook County veteran community. Cook County is home to about 175,000 veterans, 250,000 veteran and military family members. I myself served in the Army's 101st Airborne Division, including a year in Iraq, and Janelle, her husband, is a Marine. So it's good for the both of us we're both honored to be with friends and fellow members of the community. Just a few agenda items we're going to cover over the course of this presentation. I'm going to, in very precise terms, discuss who is eligible for the honor grant. I ask you to pay particularly close attention to the next slide on eligibility for the honor grant. We're going to go over some contact information that we ask of you. Then we're going to focus a little bit on the written portion of the grant process, including the application narrative, the organizational chart, and some information on personnel we're going to ask of you applicants of the honor grant. I'm going to discuss the project schedule. This is, of course, a 2-year period of performance under the honor grant. I'm going to explore some timeline information. We're going to ask of you budget. I hope you've had the chance to take a look at the spreadsheet that is on the Cook County website. If you haven't, I ask you to do that as soon as you can. And I'm going to discuss the evaluation criteria and then move into some Q&A. Eligibility. So you must be a 501c organization. I suspect most, if not all, of the organizations that will be supported by the Cook County Honor Grant will be 501c3s. Let me quickly address a question that I suspect I might get, and that is, if your organization is going through the certification process with the IRS and currently is operating under a fiscal sponsorship, would you be eligible for the honor grant? And the answer is, I suppose, but the second bullet point would probably deny you the opportunity to compete for the grant. And that is that you as an organization, not you as your personnel, you as an organization must have 3 years of experience serving veterans. So, I suppose it is certainly possible, I think, that the IRS may be extending the application process beyond 3 years to be certified as a 501c3. That seems highly unlikely. So it's probably best to observe here that you must be a 501c organization and have 3 years of experience as an organization serving veterans. These grants will be provided under these 4 buckets. You see the sub-bullets in front of you. Benefits, support services, and resources, that's kind of a wraparound category to include support services to get veterans registered for their federal VA benefits. That's that first bucket of grants. Mental health, I think everyone's aware of programs that support veteran mental health and how what programs would be supported potentially with this honor grant. Education, job placement services, that includes technical training, and then of course veteran security, shelter, food, and those support programs. Cook County has identified the need to support communities that have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 and the pandemic. Please think about how your program addresses those concerns, and also how you can provide equal access to your programming. Please address that in your proposal that will ensure that you're eligible for this grant, and express your willingness and your plan to monitor and quantify program progress and program outcomes. Everything on this slide should, I think, be intuitive. Of course, we need your organization's name, your executive director, contact information. I do want to flag the UEI. So as many of you may be aware, the federal government recently, as in a few months ago, moved from the DUNS number, a 9-digit number, to the UEI, that's a 12-character number. Please ensure that your organization has your UEI and, of course, your FEIN. Your organization is essentially your Social Security number. You cannot be eligible to receive federal money without those 2 numbers, including, I reemphasize, the UEI, which has recently, very recently, replaced the DUNS number. Your cover letter. Please, in your cover letter, discuss how much money you are asking for. We give you 3 options: $25,000, $50,000, and $100,000. Explain who in your organization is going to be managing this program, but pay special attention to why this program is needed and what you're going to do to go address the concerns that are unique to veterans. So here is a template cover letter. I, of course, would encourage you not to copy and paste what you see on your screen, but what you might do is take a look at the third paragraph. With the funding you're receiving, your organization is going to do this, this, and this. Make that clear in your cover letter. We encourage you to do. In your executive summary, now we're moving into the written portion of the application process. Make sure in your executive summary that you discuss how you're going to serve veterans and explain your unique capacity to serve the unique needs of veterans. That's very important to cover along with these items in your executive summary. We're looking for organizations that are able to deliver value to Cook County's veterans and understand the unique needs of this community. Goals, objectives, outcomes. We ask you for precise goals that you're looking to achieve in the program you're going to go propose to be funded by the honor grant. I urge you to take a look at the example we have provided. Support veterans to find employment in the technology industry. If we had a period right there, right after the word industry, that would not be sufficient, because frankly, there are folks outside of the veteran community who are looking for employment in the technology industry. What we want is for you to explain, what is unique about the challenges confronting Cook County's 175,000 veterans in finding employment in the technology industry. So in this slide, we add this detail. In this example, we're going to help veterans find employment in the technology industry by familiarizing program participants with software programs that they might not have been exposed to in the military service. So, there were, not to date myself, I got out of the military in 2007, but even then, there were software platforms that I might not have been familiar with during my 5 years in the military, that companies here in Chicago, including say Guidehouse, may have used while I was serving in the military. That in that scenario, I would have been uniquely challenged as a recently discharged veteran to find employment in the technology industry. Adding that element of uniqueness for that your program is going to tailor for the unique concerns of veterans, we think is tremendously important to compete for this honor grant. Objectives. We like numbers, right? Not just we're going to help veterans learn technology platforms, but we're going to have a regimen for a specific number of veterans, and we're going to measure outcomes, and we're going to measure progress. These objectives will be reasonable and time-bound, right? Make sure you have everything mentioned in the quote-unquote SMART framework: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, when we ask you for the objectives of the program. And outcome. What we're looking for here is that you have thought through implementation of your program with specific and quantifiable outcomes in mind, right? Your organization chart, we have an example on your screen. You will notice some folks on this organizational chart are highlighted in a darker shade of blue. What we need to understand is, who is going to be involved in managing the grant. Make sure that you highlight those personnel in your organizational chart. We ask you for the project schedule. As I mentioned, the period of performance is 2 years. Please list out by quarter, what you're going to do, and what is the beginning and the end of this particular component of the program, broken down by quarter, and if applicable, please also include the location of program operations. If you have had a chance to take a look at the budget template, the budget Excel file that we provide for you on the Cook County application web form, you will see on the fourth tab, there are 4 tabs. This is the fourth tab, a breakdown of budget categories with more detail than you see on your screen. Personnel, fringe benefits, travel, equipment, materials and supplies, indirect costs. What I don't have on this slide is, if applicable, consultants that you may be bringing into your program. We ask for specific dollar amounts that you're going to be apportioning grant expenses, grant funding to, broken down by these budget categories. At this point, let me clarify a point that a question that may be posed to us, and that is this: can we spend program funds on salaries for personnel? And the answer is yes, but with this caveat. You must quantify how much time the project personnel will be designating toward this program, and also, and match that with the full salary of those personnel. So if you have personnel that makes, that if you have an employee that makes 100,000 a year, and he or she is going to be spending a quarter of their time to this project, explain, $25,000 of, this grant will go to support this project personnel's salary. And one more point, indirect costs, no more than 10% may be spent on indirect costs of the grant funds that you may be receiving. This is the first tab of the budget Excel file that we provide to you, breaking down, asking you to break down program expenses by each year by these categories. And asking you for a little bit more detail in the second and third tabs, year 1, year 2, breaking, with your budget narrative, explaining what personnel will be involved with the program, name, title, item costs. Same thing with fringe benefits, materials, equipment, and all of the different categories that we went over in a previous slide. We ask you to fill that out in the budget template that we have provided to you. To folks who have some experience in the nonprofit space, this is a familiar concern, I'm sure, but it is worth a point of emphasis. We do ask that your organizations not refrain from, double counting funds that you will be receiving potentially under this honor grant with other sources of revenue. I trust that doesn't need to be said among folks who have spent a good deal of time in the nonprofit space, but we do ask that that organizations receiving the honor grant make certain that the funds that may be sent to you under this program not be commingled to pay for certain expenses, or double count with certain program expenses that are already being funded by other sources of revenue. We'll wrap things up with just a quick overview of the evaluation criteria. Right near, if you go to the Cook County il.gov/honor grants, you see the web form, you will see the budget Excel file, of course. You will also see a link to a more detailed explanation of the evaluation criteria. I'll briefly cover that now. 1/5 of the evaluation criteria will be focused on your organization's past performance and past ability to produce outcomes. We will score you on if you have identified who is going to be managing this grant, and at a high level, we will score you on how you have explained your capacity as an organization, your track record. Then we're going to ask you, then we're going to evaluate you on, key application concepts and priorities, which will be 2/5 of your score. And there we're looking at, have you explained not just your capacity as an organization, but your capacity as an organization to serve veterans, right? Have you identified what the need among the Cook County veteran community is for the program you're going to be funding under this proposed project? And finally, have you explained how you're going to be monitoring and quantifying program progress and program outcomes, right? That is all under that second line, of key concepts and priorities. That, as we mentioned, is a sizable portion of your score, right? Funding tracks restrictions and requirements and restrictions. So we ask you to make a request, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. What we will look at there, and this could be an easy 10 points, but I urge you not to get tripped up here. What we're going to be looking at there is, have you made a request that is in line with the program you are proposing? So if you have proposed a program that could be accomplished with 25,000, but you have requested 100,000, it's safe to assume that will be reviewed negatively by our review committee. The equity plan. So have you identified and thought about where the unique concerns of veterans that you serve also intersect with concerns with Cook County's disproportionately impacted communities? And are you providing equal access to programs? Please explain that in your proposal. That will count 15 of the 100 points toward the score that you will be scored on to receive this grant. And finally, the budget. Are you providing a detailed budget that is reasonable and precise in the costs that will go toward supporting this program? And with that, I will open the floor to questions and answers. We have been joined here by, of course, my colleague Janelle Paez-Hill and Major Love of the Department of Veterans Affairs, and happy to answer any questions and concerns that you have. Thank you.
It looks like we have a question from Martha Younger-White. I can also read it from the chat, but I will unmute Martha in just a moment here so that they might be able to just see.
And I can take Martha's question. Martha's question is, do we have to have been providing the specific service we're looking to apply for funding? The answer is, if this is, if you're already providing services to veterans and you are looking to expand your capacity or your programs utilizing the funding, then yes. But the biggest thing is that it already needs to be a service. Your organization already has to be providing services to veterans, but if you're looking to expand your capacity, your program enhancements, then yes, you are eligible to apply.
Judy. And then it looks like Martha had a second question. Martha, you're able to unmute. So if you want to unmute yourself and say your second question, that'd be awesome.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm actually here representing some of the staff that couldn't join, and one of their questions was, in the written application, it said that we had to obviously address areas that have experienced negative economic impacts due to COVID-19 pandemic. How do we demonstrate that? I mean, that we will be serving that group. Is there a method that you're looking for in that sense?
So a best practice for that, this is Major Love again. A best practice for that is during your narrative portion to pretty much elaborate on and to paint a picture of how your organization has been deeply affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So if there was a a constraint on resources, whether or not those are actual physical resources provided, or the resources not being able to have the staff that you needed to provide during that time, to paint a narrative of that, so that it's showing that yes, your program did indeed receive economic hardship from the COVID-19 pandemic. So just painting a picture for us, or providing a detailed narrative for us and how your program was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and that should suffice.
Okay,
Did that answer your question? Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. All right, moving on, we have Magdalena. Apologies if I butcher anyone's name here. Let me just unmute you, and then you'd be able to also ask your question. Magdalena, you have the floor. Well, I can also just read Magdalena's question here. Magdalena's question is, we are a 501c3, 509a3, type 3. Are we eligible to apply?
Yeah, yes, you are. If you're a 501c3, you're good.
Wonderful. All right, moving on. Jerry, it looks like you are our first hand raised, so I will unmute you and you have the floor.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Hey,
Yes,
Jerry.
we can hear you.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your service. I also served 8 years in the Army, way back when. I am part of two organizations, the Pat Tillman Foundation and the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals. We're both the Chicago chapter of. So since we are both organizations are national organizations, can we still apply for a local grant?
Yeah, well, so the Tillman Foundation, you guys are based in Cook County, aren't you?
I thought we have an office here in Cook County, but I think we're based out of Arizona. I may be wrong. I just sit on the associate board.
So the answer to that is your office that is operating out of Cook County and is providing services out of Cook County is eligible to apply, and the funding that is provided should be utilized for those services strictly for the veterans of Cook County.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, moving to the next hand raise here, we have Joe Tompinka. I'm disabling your mic now, and you have the floor. Not sure if you're speaking, Joe, but we can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Yes, Perfect.
Hey, I just want to, I'm a commander for Post 488 in Riverside, Illinois, and I know a lot of veterans in Cook County and a lot of veterans in different organizations. By and large, the American Legion in Cook County is an older organization, a more mature organization. And frankly, with the way I volunteer and the way I hold down so many multiple positions in my post, while I really salute what you guys are doing, this is really complicated for a lot of my more mature people. So what I would ask you to do is, even though I think you're doing great, so please don't take this as a criticism of what you're trying to do, because what you're trying to do is great. But I think it's it might be better if you do some like smaller block grants for some of the organizations like mine. I do most of the work in my post. I could not keep up with this. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. And you know what? I'm not alone out there. So I would ask you to consider that, maybe smaller amounts, block grants for some of these. We're more like Ma and Pa kind of organizations. We don't have full-time staff, and in many cases, you got people like me with multiple caps. So that's just, I thank what you're doing, but I'd like to put that out for you to consider, because you got a lot of organizations out there that are just hanging in there by a string with people like me and a couple of other, people that are putting in their spare time. But this is going to be too. I can't apply for this. I don't have the bandwidth to run this. But I think it's great, and I want to salute you. But I think you need to hear feedback from people in posts like me. I'm a commander, and I'm telling you, I got older folks. They're not going to be able to do this. But I thank you guys. You're doing great, and I salute you. Thanks.
If I could, so noted. Thank you for your response, Joe. We are able to provide grants in 25. Well, in fact, we'll be the Department of Veterans Affairs will be awarding 20 grants at 25,000. And if there are any questions during the course of during the application process, please don't hesitate to reach out at veterans.affairs@cookcountyil.gov.
Well, Tom,
Happy to guide you through that process.
Tom, I would love to speak to you at offline, but I'm just telling you the demographics of VFW posts and American Legion, because there's a lot of people. I see a lot of people's names that I recognize, and some people are with organizations that have the bandwidth. And this is great. You guys are doing a great thing. Don't take this wrong, but you got to understand, a lot of these Legion posts out there, we are on kind of a, for every member I get, I'm losing to. And it's not because they don't want to be part of the post. They're dying. And so, I got a manpower thing. And so when you make things complicated like this, and I know why you're doing it, because it's a lot of money. I get it. But if you start thinking about things in terms of small block grants, like Riverside Township has given our posts in the past, they trust us. They give us the block grant. We put it to good use. But I will honestly tell you, I'm the acting finance officer. We don't always, I don't always dot my I's and cross my T's, because the ink in my pen runs out, and that's me because I fall asleep. So it's just tough.
We understand. Thank you so much, sir.
And I'll speak to that, Tom. Thank you so much, not only for your service. This is Director Love again, but also for bringing up that critical issue. And we definitely acknowledge, the demographic, especially for the service within our American Legions and our VFWs. And as the applications come in, and we're starting to review, then as we move forward, we'll make sure that we take that into consideration as well. For any of those smaller organizations, as you've said, sir, especially that just may not have the manpower to tackle an application like this, rely on us. Like, don't hesitate to reach out, or even if we have some other organizations that you said that do have the manpower, if you guys could step up, like one team, one fight, right? That's what we say.
And to be able to Major Love, thank you. I have sent you emails, and I look forward to talking to you.
Okay, that works. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Joe. All right, moving forward, we have Ken Lee. Unmuting you now.
Hello.
Hi, Ken.
We can hear you. What's going on?
Yes, I represent Veterans Case Management Services, and we already submitted our application information to you all, to Director Love. and we have not heard back anything yet as regards to our application.
So right now, as applications are being submitted, we'll begin our review process in October. You'll start to hear feedback in regards to your status of your application or whether or not you've been awarded beginning the last week of October or the first week of November. My question to you, as you've submitted the application, did you receive an email acknowledging the receipt of your application?
Negative. Have not received the email.
Okay, thank you. That's a technical problem. We'll make sure we fix it. Thank you.
I also have the RFP.
Okay.
Right now, I have the gentleman who's in charge. His name is Homer Bizzle. He actually submitted it. Here he is.
How you doing? Director Love, correct? Hello?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Oh, my name is Homer. Thank you for your service. I had submitted an email to you in regards to I run two organizations, a nonprofit and a for-profit business, and I was reading the guidelines in regards to the small business for disabled owned veterans, and I did a request, RFP request for proposal, and I submitted a document along with the request for proposal, and I just wanted to know if you had a chance to review.
Not at this time. I haven't had a chance to review any applications or any documents that have come in yet, but we will begin our review process shortly. We want to make sure that, when we're taking a look at all the applications and information that's coming in, it's coming in with non-bias because we're looking at the entire cohort at one time.
Okay, well, I understand that, but I'm talking about parts of set-aside business. I know I was reading the guidelines for small disabled owned veteran business, and I know I fit the criteria for the organization. I just wanted to make sure if I have any set-aside contract in regards to that Department of Veterans Services account.
Okay. If you can send me an email to the veterans.affairs@cookcountyil.gov email address regarding that, I can take a look at it and we can discuss it further, sir.
I already did, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, I know we had to go in order here. I know we had a question from Kathleen in the chat. Her question here was, do we need to have existing veteran-specific programming, or are we eligible as long as we have programming that serves veterans and will serve veterans specifically with this funding opportunity?
Sounds like it will qualify here. Yeah.
Yes, you will qualify as long as your current programming does serve veterans, and if you're just looking to expand your services, but you have a track record of servicing veterans, yes, ma'am, you are eligible to apply.
And moving forward here for Adam's question, services we provide to veterans are delivered in Cook County, but not all of the veterans we serve reside in Cook County. Can we apply for program support to help all the veterans we serve, or only for those who live in Cook County?
That is a very good question. So our grant is specifically for veteran service organizations of Cook County. So how you're servicing and how you're dispersing, we're definitely looking for that impact for veterans here in Cook County, but we are not going to exclude you because your demographic of veterans expands beyond the county. But with you being a county service organization is pretty much the biggest factor that we're using, because we do understand that the bulk of those services will be provided to veterans here within the county. So as long as you are qualifying and quantifying the services that are provided to veterans, and if you can definitely provide feedback for those who reside here within the county, you're eligible to apply.
And then just to note, there were several questions about the presentation and the recording that will be available later today on the website that you see on the slide here. So cookcountyil.gov/honor grants.
If I could Sorry, there was a quick question I thought I'd quickly answer about how do you demonstrate that you have experienced negative economic impacts due to COVID-19. We ask you to that question in the application, and if you attest that you have experienced negative economic impacts, that will be sufficient. You may also explain in various parts of your proposal how you have experienced negative economic impacts.
You. All right, so we have Dion Bush here, and I will unmute you. Dion, you have the floor. Oh, Dion, if you are speaking, we can't hear you. We unfortunately still can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can
Oh,
hear you.
perfect. There you go. Yep.
All right, I had to unmute my mic. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm the district commander of AMVETS Cook County, and my question is this: I'm a post member of Inglewood Post 247. My commander wants to send in the grant for the Inglewood Post of AMVETS. Now, since I'm the district commander and the district oversees all 10 posts in Cook County, I wanted to apply for a separate grant for all the posts, but of $100,000, where I would be able to distribute $10,000 each post, but also can post individual posts within Cook County send in their own grant. Would that be a conflict of interest if I sent in and then the post commander sent in themselves? Because I'm sending in a grant for all the posts. If y'all can follow me here.
So
Yeah,
let me
Go for it,
go ahead.
Tom. I'll let you go.
Yeah. Let me. There's a few answers to that. We do ask you to submit a conflict of interest statement. We would encourage you to include those details in that statement. We also ask you, if you are collaborating with organizations, to explain who your collaborators are and what that relationship looks like. So that may help address your concerns. Major Love, did you want to add?
You hit the head right the nail right on the head. So within the application section, you do provide evidence for any conflict of interest, and then any types of collaborations as well. It does not exclude you from your entity, and their posts as separate entities from applying. You just have to make sure that that is annotated, and that will be reviewed within the process of reviewing and scoring the grants.
Also, now, if at some point I become confused in some aspect, who can I refer questions to?
Send us an email, veterans.affairs@cookcountyil.gov.
All right,
We'll get right
I
back.
got all that information. I know y'all. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yes, sir. And I'm the one who's I'm the one who's manning. This is Director Love. I man that inbox, so it will be a response that comes from me.
Okay, Ms. Love. Thank you. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Dion. All right, so moving along here, we have Grant with the next question. Grant, you have the floor. You just have to unmute your mic.
Thanks, everyone. I'm a communication specialist with a homeless service agency in Southwest suburban Cook, and reviewing the sort of the baseline qualifications for this grant. I was wondering, what documentation would you need to see that we were serving an increasing number of veterans and that's caused financial hardship? if that makes sense.
Yes, sir, it does. This is Director Love. So
Oh,
during
thank you.
during your intake of of personnel that are seeking your services for that are for homeless services at that, whatever processes and procedures you utilize to capture those demographics, and then also annotating that this is a service member that is using that,
Mhm.
from my that'll suffice. Have you been collecting those demographics? So that's something we could talk about offline, but that's the most important thing.
Yeah, we
So
do collect that information. I just
okay.
don't have it right offhand.
No, then that's perfect. Then that is what you'll utilize to as justification for needing the assistance.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, Grant. All right. So moving along here, we have Sheila. Sheila, you should be able to unmute yourself now to ask your question. Sheila, you're still on mute if you are speaking. Unfortunately, we still can't hear you. If you want to just type it in the chat, I'm happy to read out your question as well. So just to keep this moving, we will move forward then with, let's see if I can unmute you. Fortunately, it doesn't allow me to unmute you, but you should be able to unmute yourself. But you can also type your question in the chat and I can read it out loud. Oh, great. Glad to hear that your question has been answered, and any follow-up questions, feel free to, again, contact that email that's noted on the slide. All right, so Bishop, you are next here. Let me just allow Mike, and if you just want to unmute yourself, you have the floor.
Great. My name's besides Bishop. My name is Commander Wade Hudson from Millennium Post 2017, 3rd District, 1st Division, American Legion. I'm also a district commander out of SAL. The gentleman who's talking earlier about the American Legion, I feel the same way. We got a lot of veterans organization or doing things for veterans that we don't even know they even existed. Being a post commander, and because when our people need help, we have no idea where to reach some of these people that is online. And no disrespect to nobody, but it's just like that post 911. When I was in the military, we had all these organizations come out for different grants, but when we try to contact some, or some of the people say they try to contact through our posts, it's hard to get to them, or they don't qualify. Me, I want to expand. I got a center that I would like to use to expand to help the veterans more. And being a nonprofit organization of the American Legion, we had to raise our own funding. Some of the questions y'all ask about graphics of how we handle our fundings and stuff like that. Most of our funding are donated, and we just use it to help to do certain things for the post. It's not elaborate. It's not real big donations, but it's like small donation, about a couple $100. But doing a post is you still helping the veteran in your community. There's a couple questions on here that I was looking at, and I'm like, okay, just like eliminate Legion posts and other posts that deal with veterans. And you talking about you got a grant thing coming out for 25,000 out in the future. So will we be on your list to get some of these applications, look at them, like some of the people that I hear now, oh, they be reviewing this. I didn't even know we can review this. I just got this from my adjutant a couple of days ago. I didn't even know this was out, and I would be more prepared. But the thing is, it's a good thing, but I would like to be more up on things when things come out than organizations that already been existed in the Cook County, because our veterans are not supposed to be asking these questions, especially the younger veterans when they be coming out. What type of help, what type of organization? They go to the VA, but not only just going to the VA, they want something closer to their house. And I'm hearing a lot of people are saying, well, this organization that I never knew existed. So, Major Love, I'm asking this question to you. Can you send us a list of organizations that you support in the Cook County area so I can distribute to my district? Because we got young veterans need help. You know,
Yes.
since people
So
relating to you about you in charge of this grant.
yes, sir. To answer your question, we are actually in the process right now of updating our correspondence and creating a user-friendly book for our veteran service organization, all our veterans and dependents throughout the county. You can look for that to come out because, we have to wait to make sure all the information is accurate, and we're going to capture it by district as well so that it's very user-friendly. But in the meantime, for any type of assistance that you may need for veterans, don't hesitate to reach out to either my office or additionally to the our VAC3 or VACCC, the Veteran Assistance Commission of Cook County. And if there's services that are needed, regardless of what it is, housing, employment, anything of that nature, then we are going to be your direct contact to connect you throughout with those organizations. But there is going to be a comprehensive book that'll be provided physically and online that is coming, that's going to have all organizations through Cook County and then broken down by your districts available.
Okay. My last question is, I heard the gentleman was saying that about Invest, he want to apply for $100,000, donate 10,000 out, and y'all explain to what he need to do. How can we do something like that for historical posts? We have one in Inglewood, Giles, 100-year-old posts, and we would like to do something like that, a smaller part of the grant to restore the place and revise and hire help to keep that place going, because that's a historical building, one of and under the veteran organizations. Would this grant can be plausible
Yes.
to use for this?
Yes, sir, it is. And I'm actually going to get on the net, especially for a lot of our older organizations that have been in operation for a while and may not have the manpower. I'm gonna reach out to one organization that I do know that has manpower and to see that they will be willing to come up on the net to assist you all. So I'm not gonna put that information out there yet because it's not official.
Understand?
But but I will definitely speak with them, and if it is at all possible for them to be able to assist, then that information will also be released through our .gov system. So you'll just look out for that email and the contacts for those.
I appreciate that. I spoke to you earlier with a couple months ago. I introduced myself to you, but I'm grateful that you're doing the job that you're doing. I'm grateful for it. And the reason I brought this up, because this is a historical building that we was trying to get some help from, and it seemed like everybody was closing the doors on the veteran organization, and that's really what it invested my heart. And then I'm like, why? This post been here for over 100 years, doing a lot of good work, and still doing a lot of good work in the past and in the future and in the present. But some people just don't want to recognize it, so that's why I was asking that myself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
All
sir.
right,
And we
thank you.
definitely thank you for your continued service, and we're going to try to get you all the assistance that you need.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop, for your question. All right, one of the last hands here, we have Sharon. Sharon, I am allowing you to unmute your mic. If you could just unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Thank you very much, and I do apologize. For some reason, the 15 clicked as tomorrow and not today. So I guess my basic question is, will the slides and the recording be available for review?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And just one quick clarification. The gentleman mentioned that I guess American Legion Post and VFW Post are not eligible for this grant?
That's incorrect. You are eligible, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon. Is there any other questions? That was our last hand raise. If you want to type it in the chat, I can read it out loud, or if you just raise your hand, I can unmute you. All right, Well, as a final, one of the last things I wanted to just share again as a reminder, we will be posting this presentation recording and the presentation itself on our website as noted here. And if anyone wants to sign up for any continuous updates, Brittany from our team has put in the link where you can sign up to receive information from the Department of Veterans Affairs moving forward. Oh, looks like Sharon has another question here. Let me just unmute. All right, Sharon.
Just a quick, do you have to be registered with SAMS.gov to receive this grant?
So I believe to get your UEI, can I get back to you on that, Sharon? So the bottom line is it's probably not a bad idea because I think you get your UEI through SAMS, but let me confirm that.
And I appreciate that because that UEI number is a difficult number to obtain.
Yeah. So yeah, get on that right away because we can't. You got to have that to get your federal dollars. Sharon, do you can you email that question to our Veterans.Affairs email and we'll get that back to you as soon as possible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. All right, and then we have one other question from Martha. Martha, I'm allowing you to unmute your mic. If you can unmute yourself, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just a quick question. Under the category of education and job placement, are those tied together or could you be doing one or the other?
Those could be separate entities, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Janelle, if I may jump in real quick, there was one question from my friend Byron Watson about it filled out template application. Byron, candidly, we hadn't planned on doing that. But let me get with Major Love. I suppose I can write something out and post it if it's all right with Director Love. And we'll talk separately.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we're just about time here. No other questions have came through the chat and no other hand raises. I'll leave it for Tom and Dee to give our final words here.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
You can finish.
Yeah.
Because
all right.
Thank you all for your interest in this program. We're looking forward to being able to provide the services to you all. Thank you for our partners at Guidehouse for all the assistance that you get. One thing that I do want to touch on prior to me handing over the floor to Tom is that one of the biggest restrictions that we find with our veterans receiving assistance as their discharge statuses. And I just want to make it clear, because no one brought this up, that funding that you guys provide or assistance that you provide utilizing this ARPA grant is not restricted based on the discharge statuses of your veterans. So keep that in mind as well, because I know a lot of times that is a hurdle that my department that we're working on here at the county level, but then additionally working on at the state and the federal level as well to try to remove that hurdle. But keep in mind that for any of you that have programs or looking to extend a program to be able to assist those veterans, regardless of discharge status, this funding is available for that too. So thank you again. I'm gonna hand it over to Tom. Tom, it's all you.
I'll just wrap this up by observing that, as I have mentioned, Cook County is home to about 250,000 veteran family members. Sometimes, to me, it feels like it's a few hundred because I look at the names of folks on this call, and of course, I know a few. We here at Guidehouse are available as a resource through the Department of Veterans Affairs to answer any questions that you have to best compete for this grant, and while maintaining a transparent evaluation process. We are available to clarify any questions that you have during this application process. Best of luck. This is a heck of an investment that the county is making in our veteran community, and it's on us to go make the best of it. And I know we will. Thank you so much and have a great day.